Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In the previous video, we have discussed about the conversion from Mealy to Mealy machine. And in this video, we are going to discuss how we can convert a Mealy machine to a Mealy machine. The conversion is easy, just like the previous one. So we will be discussing this with the help of two examples. So in the first example of Mealy to Mealy conversion, we have taken this diagram of three states Q0, Q1, Q2. Now as we can say in Mealy machine, the output depends on current input as well as current state. So in this case, we can say that on the transition, the output as well as input transition is written. So we can now let's see how can we convert in this case. So for converting, we have to explore all the states one by one. So for we know the initial state is Q0, so we will start with the initial state Q0. So for Q0, we will check for the transition from 0 and 1. So we can see when we start from Q0 with 0, where can we go? We can go to Q1. And in case of Mealy machine, the output is written on the state. So here we can see when we start from Q0 and pass the input 0, we will go to Q1 and the output in that case is 0, means reaching Q1 with the output 0. So what will we write over here? We will write it over here Q1 0. Now we will check for the next input, that is when we apply 1 on Q0. So when we give input 1 on Q1, we are able to reach Q0. And in this case, we will check the output. So with 1, it will go to transit to Q2 and the output in that case is 0. So it means we have to write 0 over here, Q2 0. Fine. Now the state Q1 is explored. We will start exploring state Q1. After Q0 exploration, we will explore state Q1. Now on Q1, what will we see? On Q1, we apply 0. It will remain at Q1 itself and the output is 0 in this case. So what will we do? For Q1 with input 0, it is able to reach the state Q1 itself and the output is 0. So we have this state Q1 0 which represent so state Q1 has 0 output, and with 0 it is over here. Now when we check for Q1, from Q1 with 1 it go to Q2. The output in that case is 1 in the case. Fine. So here we can say the output is 1 in this case. Now when we have a look at this with 1, where it is going to Q2 with output 1, it means it is Q2 1. But we have a state that is Q2 0. So we can't draw an HQ2 Q2 with 1 output because the state is Q2. So in this case, what we can do, this we can call the state as a conflicting state. So we need to create a duplicate state. What happens if there is conflict? Conflict means a state Q with 0, it is going to some state with output 0 and with 1. So in this case, we can't decide that the edges is going to the same state. So in this case, what is the solution? The simplest solution is create duplicate state. So now we will create a duplicate state Q2 with output 1, which is saying there is a state Q2 and in this case the output is 1. So now we can draw a edge from Q1 to Q2 with input 1, which says the output in this case is Q2 1. So in this case, we can say the Q1 exploration is completed. Now we have to explore Q2. So when we have to explore Q2, what we need to do? In this case, we need to explore Q2 0 as well as Q2 1. But in that case, we will consider it as simply Q2. We will not say it is Q2 0 or Q2 1. We have to explore Q2 both the states. So we can explore either Q2 0 first or Q2 1 first, it doesn't matter. So Q1 is explored. Now let's firstly explore Q2 0. So from Q2 we can see when input 0 is given from Q2, when we give the input 0, then in that case it goes to state Q1 and the output in that case is 1. So it means there should be an edge from Q to Q1 1. It should be like this. Now here we can see with 0 there is no Q11 state. So we are having state Q10 but we are not having state Q11. So what will we do? We will create a state with Q11 and from Q to 0 we will draw a edge up to this point with input 0. Now we will check the other possibility of Q2, that is the next input on Q2. The input is 1, then where will it go? With Q2 1, it will remain to Q2 itself, and in that case the output is 0. So what was the output for this? Output is 0. So we need to create a state Q2 0. So we are already having a state Q2 0. So we will create an edge Q2 0 with input 1, which says if Q2 0 is applied input 1, it will remain at Q2 and the output is 0, which means Q2 0. So there is an edge. Now we will check for when Q2 is given input 1. When Q2 is given input 1, in this case what we have to do? When Q2 is given Q2 1 we have checked when Q2 is given input 0. So we have to check when Q2 is given input 0. In this case when Q2 is given input 0, it is going to state Q1, and in that case the output is 1 in this case, which means Q11. So there should be an edge from Q2 to Q11 for the input 0. So do we have Q1? Yes, we have Q1. We have created that 0 and 1 edges. So Q2 0 is complete. Now we have to explore Q2 1 also. So for Q2 1 we will check with Q2 0 where it is going. With Q2 0 it is going to Q1 1. So what can we do? We can simply draw H like this, which says with input 0. Fine. So next is when Q2 is given input 1, it is going to Q2 0. When Q2 1 is given input 1, it is going to Q2 0. So there can be edge over here. So the cell edge will be like this. Fine. And in the next case we see we have Q2 0 and Q2 1 is explored, but here we have a one new state, and that state is Q11, which has not been explored yet, because in case of Mealy to Moore conversion we have to explore each and every state. If some duplicate state or new state is created, we have to explore that one also for all the inputs. So for now for Q11 we have not explored for any input. We are having incoming edges but no outgoing. So for Q11 we have to check for input 0. So when Q1 is given input 0, we can see when Q1 is given input 0, it is remaining at Q11, and in that case the output is 0. So it means it is something like Q10. So from Q1 1 we can draw an edge to Q11 with input 0. So what will we do? From Q11 edge is over here and input in that case is 0. Now for Q11 we will check when Q1 is given input 1, where it will go. When Q1 is given input 1, it is going to where? It is going to Q2. Will go to Q2. And what is the output in that case? Output is 1. It means it is going to Q2 1. So from Q11 we will draw edge to Q2 1 with input 1. So the output 1, Q2 1, and output is 1 in this case. So this is how we convert a Mealy machine to a Moore machine. So this is the answer to this problem, which says we have to explore each and every state. So here we need to remember one thing, that is for M states and N outputs, how many possible states are there? M into N states are possible when we convert a Mealy machine to a Moore machine. Let's proceed with another example. So we can also see when we are creating this type of example, we can do one more method for this. What type of method it can be? We can draw a transition table for such cases. Like here one input edge is missing. Let me write that edge as well. So what we need to write over here, a oblique one. This was a mistyping mistake. So what we can do in this case, we can do this thing. We can create a transition table. So for a given this, we can create a transition table. Transition table for Mealy. So what is a transition table consist of? We have present state, or we can call that as the current state. And then what we have next? We have next states in which for input symbol A, for input symbol B we will create. Fine. It will consist of next state and then output for that. Similarly for B, what will be the next state and what will be the output. We will write all these. So for Q1 from diagram we can see for Q1 when A is given, the next state is Q1 and the output in this case is 1. And for Q1 when B is given as input, the next state is Q2 and output in this case is 0. Fine. Similarly we write for Q2. For Q2 the next state is Q3 and the output is 1. Then again Q3 output is 1. We will write for Q3 also. So for Q3, for A it is going to where? It is going to Q4 with input 0, and for B it is going to Q1 with output 1, and for Q4 it is going to Q2 output 1 in that case, and here for Q4 output 1 in this case. So now this is the table that we have created. So for every state with single output, we can say for every state with single output, for all the inputs there is no need to split when we convert. Now what we have to convert do? We have to convert this transition table of Mealy to Mealy transition table. So for creating Mealy transition table, we will write states over here. For input A, for input B, what we need to write? We need to write output, because we know in Mealy we have one output column also. So we will start with the state Q1. So for Q1 we can see this table. We need not to look at this diagram. We can draw design from this table. For Q1 the state is, for A is Q1, for B the state is Q2. Now the question comes over here, what will be the output in this case? Now when we have to write the output, it means we have to write the output of Q1. For that we have to check what is the output of Q1. So we will not look this output because the output is state wise over here. So based on the input. So here we need to check for this Q1 the output is 1, but there is one more entry, and that is Q1 which says output is 1. So both the entries are giving the output 1, so no problem in that case. We will simply write the output is 1 in this case. Now what we have to do? We have to do for Q2. We have to do for state Q2. Now for Q2, what are the next states? Q3 for A and Q3 for B. So no worries in that. We will simply write Q3. Now we have to write the output for that case. So here we can say for Q3 what is the for Q2 what is the output? For Q2 the output is 0, and for Q2 the output is 1. It means for a single value we are having two different outputs. So what we can do in that case? We can split it as Q2 with 0 output, Q2 with 1 output. Fine. So when Q2 is 0, the output in that case is 0. When Q2 with 1, the output is 1 in this case. So these are the two states that we have to split. So for this we can say Q2 0 and Q2 1 separation is being done. So we have to explore for Q2 0 and Q2 1. So we have separated it like this. So when Q2 0, the output is 0. For Q2 1, that there will be no change in this transitions, because either it is going with zero output or whatever, the state changes with corresponding input, so there will be no change, simply the changes in the output in this case. Fine, so we have explored Q2 completely. Now what we have to do in the next case, we have to check for Q3. Now for Q3, from the transition table we can say it is going to Q4 and Q1. So we will write over here Q4 and Q1. It means we have to write the output of Q4 in this case. So when we have to check for this Q3, we can see for Q3 the output is 1, for Q3 the output is 1. So there are two occurrences of Q3 with output 1. So there is no conflict. We will simply declare the output is 1 in this case. Fine. So what is to be done next? Now we have to check for Q4. So we are done with Q3. We have to check for Q4. So when we are checking for Q4, we see the transitions are Q2 and Q4. For A, it is Q2. For B, it is Q4. We will simply write that, but the question is what is the output in that case. Now for Q4 we can say there is one occurrence of Q4 over here, another occurrence of Q4 over here with the output 0 and 1. It means there is a conflict and we need to change, separate it into 2. So we will separate it as Q4 0 and we will separate it into Q4 1 state. So there is no change in this because this is based on the input symbol. The next state we will write it as it is. And now the output when for Q4 0 is 0 and for Q4 1 the output is 1 in this case. So now as we have created this transition table, so based on this transition table we can draw the diagram for this. You can simply draw the diagram for this case. So let me erase this table because I don't need this table now. I will simply create the values. Fine. Now for these states we will draw the diagram. So let's draw. Start with the state Q1. Now when Q1 is given input A, it is going to the next state and that state is Q1. Fine. And similarly for B, and in that case Q1, the output of our Q1 is 1. Now for B, it is going to Q2. With which state it is going, that we need to see from here. From this we have to clarify the case. So in this case what we have to do, basically we can make a few changes in this to make it simple. Q3 then we can write over here, and here we can write the values for this Q4, and here this is for Q2 1, this is for Q4 1, and this is for Q2 1, and this is for Q4 1. So now based on this we can, these are the table for Q1 1, and for Q1 is always 1. So for Q2 0, we will see with B it is going over here. Now when we are at the next state, for this what we can do, we can simply draw a self edge. That is like this. Just a minute. For A. Now we have to explore Q2 0. For Q2 0, with A it is going to Q3 1. For B again it is going to Q3 1, as we can